A question we often hear is, do I need a lawyer, or is it worth getting a lawyer if I'm involved in a relatively minor car accident? What may seem like a minor car accident can also result in more severe injuries. The question is always not so much the severity of the impact or the accident, as much as it is whether or not that accident is having an impact on you in terms of your health and your well-being. And so, absolutely, if you have injuries from a minor car accident, it in some ways is more important or equally important to get a lawyer early because, not surprisingly, the insurance companies look at minor impacts. They have a name for it. They call it M.I.S.T, minor impact soft tissue cases. They actually have a name for it and a whole strategy on how to defeat those kinds of claims. If you were in a relatively modest impact and your injuries are predominantly soft tissue, so think about whiplash, back pain, neck pain, headaches, a whole host of symptoms can qualify as soft tissue. Those are precisely the types of claims that insurance companies are looking to defeat and deny. Getting a lawyer involved early on let's call it a minor impact case, is extremely important. Your lawyer can give you advice on how to treat and document your symptoms and present your case in the light most favorable to you, give you advice on the types of ways that insurance companies try to defeat these claims and help you avoid some of those missteps that can be fatal to the viability of your case, and also evaluate your case and tell you whether or not you do have a viable case or if it's one that probably won't be successful. Another important point is that injuries aren't always obvious. Sometimes we'll meet a client that it looks like a pretty minor accident and maybe minor injuries, and then over the course of weeks and months, the symptoms don't resolve. Sometimes they get worse, and through further investigation and medical treatment, it's determined that the injury is actually much more severe than initially anticipated. I've seen people's injuries become significantly worse over a certain period of time. That's another important reason to consult with a lawyer. Don't settle too early. Do the appropriate treatment. Get investigated, because if you settle and sign a release thinking that your injury was just minor, and then it turns out to be more significant and requiring more ongoing healthcare and medical expenses, you're barred. You can't come back. Once you sign that release, your case is closed. As I say often in these videos, insurance companies are driven by profits. They want to pay you as little as possible. If you settle too soon, you may not have explored all of the treatment that you need, all of the future treatment you need. A lawyer can help you assess those parts of your claim, the impact potentially on your income as well, and make sure all of the heads of damages or the components of your case are presented adequately to the insurance company so that you can maximize your recovery. Also, it doesn't cost you anything to get the advice of a lawyer. Most lawyers, including ourselves that practice in this area of personal injury law, are happy to give you a free consultation where you can ask your questions. There is no risk in getting some advice and a consultation. Even seemingly modest injuries such as a sore neck or whiplash at the outset could actually amount to a claim that's worth several thousands of dollars, sometimes six figures, sometimes more, depending on the care that's ultimately required. Again, I wouldn't underestimate the value of a case simply because you don't have a broken bone. A lot will depend on the medical treatment that's needed. We've seen cases become worth several hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes more, even though they commenced as modest soft tissue injuries at the outset. Also, another point that can't be discounted is the psychological impact and the emotional toll that an accident can have on someone. It's not just physical injuries that can disable a person from functioning. We've seen psychological injuries have lasting and significant impacts on a person's ability to function at home, at work, socially, with friends, family. All of this needs to be explored before you listen to the insurance company telling you that your case isn't worth much. Peace of mind is always important. Having a lawyer can help reduce your stress, knowing someone's got your back, they're dealing with the insurance company on your behalf, They're dealing with the medical bills on your behalf. They're submitting the forms. They're negotiating with an adjuster and really covering all the bases for you. That peace of mind, and we see this often, can also help the individual on the road to recovery, on a full recovery, to get better, because you can focus at that point just on your healthcare and leave all the stress and negotiation to an experienced lawyer. If you have any questions about this subject or any other subject, feel free to leave your questions in the comments below, and we're happy to address them. Thanks for watching.